Hello, it's Miss Amanda from the Allen County Public Library. It's so good to see you. Today is our first video in our summer reading series, and it's called Once Upon a Time. It's part of our Imagine Your Story summer reading program this year, and we're going to do a lot of imagining together this summer. I'm very excited about that. Today is Once Upon a Time. When you think of those words, once upon a time, it takes you to those fairy tales, doesn't it? There's always a lot of emphasis on the prince and the princess, but today I want to focus our attention on the castle. Castles are large, enormous, marvelous structures that once housed whole villages and communities. It was a safe barrier that kept everyone intact. These castles, some of them are still standing today, and we're going to hopefully be able to share some of these castles on a guided tour later on in this video. We're going to read two stories today, and the first one is called The Sword and the Stone. Now I'm telling stories, storytelling, and you're not going to see visual images like I normally share when I'm reading a book to you. This is going to help you practice using your imagination, okay? So The Sword and the Stone is a popular story that has been around for a long time. It's been made into a movie, and you've probably seen that movie. It's very popular, and I happen to really love it. So let's go ahead and get started on The Sword and the Stone. In the ancient times in England, there lived a boy, and his name was Arthur. He is the son of a king, and the king's name is Uther. The king wants Arthur to become king one day, but some bad men are around and they want to kill Arthur because of his father's rivalry so that they can become king instead of Arthur. Now here's a little guy named Merlin, and Merlin is a magician. Merlin, who is very close to the king, takes Arthur away to live with the king's best friend, Sir Ector. Sir Ector brings up Arthur. He's the one who helps raise him. And we're going to see what happens after that. One day, King Uther dies. England needs a new king. Well, where is the king's son? Where is Arthur? The people ask. No one knows where Arthur is. So the nobles begin fighting about who's going to be the new king. There's a lot of trouble and people become poor and hungry. And seeing this, Merlin has an idea. He's very worried about England. Merlin makes a magic sword. He puts this sword into a stone, and he tells the nobles, the man who can pull the sword out of this stone will become the next king of England. Well, the nobles all want to be king, and one by one they try to pull that sword out of the stone. They try and they try, but no one can pull out the sword. No one can but the true king. So as England has no king, it's not a very good place to live. The nobles are fighting and they're upset because they want to know who's going to be the next king. Some people die because of this. Everybody forgets about the sword. They live with no king for many years. And all this time, Merlin is watching Arthur grow. Remember, Arthur is being raised by the king's best friend, Sir Ector. Time passes and Arthur becomes a young man. He is not strong, but Merlin sees that Arthur is kind, and he's wise, and he's good. He's very good with people. Merlin tells Arthur about this sword. But I cannot become the king, says Arthur. And Merlin tells him about his own father. He shows Arthur the sword. And then, soon, many people they begin to gather around in a big circle. They're strong men, and they try to pull out that sword. But they cannot even budge it. And then they laugh at Arthur, because here he comes. Little Arthur. They think there's no way that he can pull out this sword. He's too small. But guess what? To everyone's surprise, Arthur pulls out the sword. He is the new king of England. Arthur is wise, and he's a good king. And guess what? England becomes a happy place again. and that is called The Sword and the Stone. All right, we're going to pause here for a minute to get ready for your next story, and then we'll move on to virtual tours and castle building. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's time for our second tale for this program. We are going to read The Sleeping Beauty, and I chose this tale because it does talk about that castle some, and we're going to really enjoy making those castles later with you. So let's get started with The Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time in a faraway land, a beautiful girl was born to the king and the queen. Fairies from all over were invited to celebrate. They brought with them special gifts, and they blessed the little princess so that she would become clever and beautiful and kind. But then an old wicked fairy came to the castle, and she cursed the princess. "On your 16th birthday, you will touch the spindle and die." She screamed in the anger and she vanished. Everybody was shocked. But then a young fairy stopped by at the castle, and she said, "I cannot take this evil curse away, but I can help. When the princess will touch the spindle, she won't die, but instead she will fall into a deep sleep that only she can be awakened with a kiss of a prince who loves her." Well, the king and the queen were very worried for their dear daughter, that they ordered all of the spinning wheels in the whole kingdom to be destroyed. However, unknown to them, one spinning wheel remained. As the years went by, that baby, she grew up to be a lovely, charming young girl. And on her 16th birthday, when she was roaming around the castle, she came upon a secret room that she had never been to before, at the very top of one of those castle towers. Curious, she wanted to help this little old woman who was bent over a spinning wheel. "Oh, what is this?" she cried, as she had never seen one before. She pleaded with that woman, "Please, do let me try this as well." But the minute she touched the needle of the spindle, she fell to the ground. The witch's spell had came true. With a heavy heart, the king ordered her to be taken to the grand room of the castle, where she would lie asleep for years. The whole kingdom was so sad for Sleeping Beauty. The youngest fairy watched all of this, and she said with a wave of her hand, "Let the whole kingdom fall asleep with the princess, so when is awoken by her prince, she will not be alone." The moment she said this, all of the people and all the animals in the kingdom fell asleep where they were, and everything stopped. More years passed by, and a thick forest began to grow around the castle, and the whole kingdom was hidden. Exactly 100 years later, here comes a handsome prince passing through the forest, and he discovered this strange kingdom. While exploring it, he was surprised to find the Sleeping Beauty lying fast asleep, and immediately he fell in love with her. "I want to know who she is, how gentle and peaceful she looks," he said, and he leaned down and he kissed her. Instantly, the spell was lifted. The princess and all the people woke up. It was joy, and there was celebrations all around. The prince and the princess were soon married in that huge castle where they lived happily ever after. So that is The Sleeping Beauty. All right, stick around for a few minutes for our virtual castle tour. Hi guys, today we are going to go on a virtual tour of the castles around the world. And this is a short tour that you can do with your family. And all you have to do is download a simple app called Google Earth. And I've downloaded it to my iPhone as you can see. and we're just going to click the app, and it opens it up to a page to start searching. I'm going to type in castles, Castles, and then I'm going to scroll up, and there is a guided tour section. American castles, castles around the world, Japanese castles. There's even more guided tours. But today we're going to click the middle one, castles around the world. And we're going to start exploring here. Our first destination is in Portugal, and most castles, if you think about it in your mind, are gray. They're made of really big stones, and this one is right the opposite. I see so many colors, yellows and reds, and it's very beautiful. We're going to scroll up this, and it gives us information about the castle. It's called the Park and National Palace of Pina. It's perched on top of the hill within the Sintra Mountains, and it looks very romantic, doesn't it? It was part of a Portuguese royal family, and it began construction in the Middle Ages, and it was not complete until 1854. As we scroll this down, we can see the castle. You can double click and it brings you closer, or you can zoom out, and that will be our first castle. So I'm going to scroll back up, and we're going to take our next destination, which is going to take us all the way to Austria. So say goodbye to Portugal, and now we're going to Austria. And it actually takes us inside of this castle. So first, let's read about it. This castle in Austria was built in the 11th century. It's situated on a precipice that overlooks the town below. It's been used for many different reasons and purposes. It was used as a military base, a hunting retreat, and even a prison. But now it's just a family-friendly tourist destination. So the way that this app works, or you can even access this on your computer, is you just twirl things around, you double click if you want to get closer to the arrows, and we're going to try to see what this coat of armor, this armor looks like. And you can see what they wore to help protect themselves as they were protecting the castle. So that's pretty neat, and you can even get closer and read all about the armor. So let's go to our next destination, which is in Japan. So say goodbye to there, and now we're all the way in Japan. This castle is very unique to the country that it is located in. And as you can see, isn't it just really ornate? It's bright red. As we zoom in, you can see there's dragons sitting atop of the roof. And if you study Japanese culture, you will see how those dragons are really important and significant in their life. As we scroll up to read about this castle, it was built in the 14th century, and it was the residence of King Shohashi when he united the three principalities of Okinawa to create this kingdom. The castle has burned down several times, but it was last rebuilt in 1992. All right, our fourth castle, we're going to my favorite place that I have dreams of visiting one day, and that is Scotland. The other three castles that we have seen, you can actually tour, and they serve purposes, where this one is just in ruins. You can still visit it, but it does not serve any other purpose besides just being the walls that remain to stand, and you can actually visit the courtyard. But there is nothing inside the structure itself. It's pretty dilapidated. The rocks have fallen, probably due to erosion and things like that. So let's read about this castle. It was once a magnificent fortress, but now this castle lies in ruins. The remaining structures are from the 15th and 16th centuries, but the site has been fortified all the way back to the early Middle Ages. Aside from the exceptional views, this castle is most known as the place the Scottish crown jewels were stashed during Oliver Cromwell's invasion in the 17th century. So that is a lovely castle, and you can see here there's a little road that takes you up, and it looks over the ocean there. All right, let's go to castle number 5. We're going to New York. So back to the United States we go. And this castle is the Bolt Castle and the Bolt Yacht House. So this castle was actually built by millionaire George Bolt, and he was going to give this as a present to his wife. However, when his wife suddenly died, George Bolt never visited that castle again. It has since been restored, and it was completed by the Thousand Islands Bridge Authority. But we can get really close to it as well. You just kind of scroll in. There are options where you can actually go inside. You just have to maneuver the app or the website a little bit. But for this purpose, we're just going through a quick rundown of a couple of different castles. Castle number 6 takes us to the Czech Republic in Prague. So say goodbye to New York, and now we are in Prague. And I love this castle because it is so detailed and so ornate. And we'll see. I don't know if I can get my man to pop up or not. He's not showing up right now. But usually there's a little yellow man that you can pick up and move to the courtyard or to the street view, and you can actually be right up inside of that castle. You can pinch this to zoom in a little bit, but you don't have all those details. But you can kind of see just how grand and magnificent this castle is. And there are some of the colors. This dates back to, look at that, it's beautiful. This castle dates back to the 9th century, but it was not completed until 1929. It is the largest ancient castle in the world today, according to the Guinness Book of Records. Today it houses the office of the President of the Czech Republic, as well as a secret room where the Bohemian crown jewels are kept. And it is lovely, isn't it? All right, castle number 7 takes us to Spain. In this castle, we've seen castles that were built with lots of big stones. This one is built with lots of little red bricks. And see how detailed those are, the stacking of that, and there's lots of curved doorways. And it's pretty big as well. You'll see in these we're on the roof of the castle right now, but all of these little things around the top have holes where guards would stand to watch for possible enemies, and they could put their weapons through these holes if they needed to help protect the castle. This is called the Castillo de Coca in Spain. It is made from brickwork, and it was built in the 15th century with a 3-tiered defense system, including a moat. So a moat around castles is like a big river or a big stream that goes in a circular fashion around the castle, and that helps keep enemies from getting to the castle quickly. It was owned by a prominent Spanish family in the House of Alba until it became a national monument of Spain in 1926. Our last castle today takes us to Italy. And there we go. So this castle is very white and bright, isn't it? So it really stands out against that blue sky and the green grass. It's called the Castle del Monte. This striking castle was built in the 13th century by Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II. It is featured on the Italian version of the 1-cent euro coin. It has a unique octagonal design with octagonal towers at each corner, and it was made a World Heritage Site in 1996. I hope you've enjoyed this tour, and I really want you to try to take advantage of Google Earth. It's a great app that you can use to visit all different kinds of places, and you never even have to leave your home. But right now we have got to go back to the library. So I'm going to type in 42164. That's our address. And it will take us back to Allen County, Kentucky. So say goodbye to that castle. And we are going to be in Allen County, Kentucky. Let's try to find the library real fast. Scottsville. We're getting closer. And there's the square. And your library is, I can find it, right here. And there's the library. All right, guys, have a great day. Thank you. Goodbye. Today you're going to need tape, glue, markers, and scissors. You'll also need a box of some sort and toilet paper rolls, and then lots of colorful paper to your choosing. If you don't have colorful paper, crayons will work out just fine. You may also need toothpicks. We're going to make castles today. All right, friends, it's time to make and create our castles together. I have 3 different types of castles that I want to show you, and they range from really easy to harder. And you can pick and choose whichever castle fits you. I like to call this the Goldilocks method. Is it too easy? Is it too hard? Or is it just right? Find the thing that's just right for you, okay? So the first one I'm going to show you is a 2-dimensional castle, and it's constructed by only using shapes. So what shapes do you see here? I see rectangles and circles. I see a crescent moon and triangles. On our really long rectangle here in the front, we cut out little notches, up, down, little zigzag notches, up and down, and that helps create the top of the castle. We have 1 tower, 2 towers, and we have a really nice door in the middle, and each tower has a window. So use lots of bright colors. That's a lot of fun. And if you put it on black paper, you can use white crayons or chalk to fill in some details. So that is the 2-dimensional castle. My other castles are made by using things at my house. And I like doing that because we get to recycle and reuse things that we would normally throw in the trash to create something new. So I'm going to show you this castle and see if you can guess what it used to be. Are you ready? What did this used to be? It was a Pringles can, wasn't it? So all I did was cut out a big hole in the front for the door. It's got a small hole at the top for the window. This was just a piece of paper that I cut into a circle. You cut a slit in the side, and it makes a little triangular roof called a cone to fit right on top of this little castle tower. Do you remember in our story, Sleeping Beauty? She went to the castle tower at that very top room, and she saw that spinning wheel. I wonder if she's in there now. So that's a second option. My third option is this. And it's more complex, isn't it? So this castle uses this was a Ritz cracker box. I have toilet paper rolls on the sides, and I have paper and toothpicks at the top for the flag. And today we're going to show you each little step on how to make this castle. So the first thing you want to get is a box. And I've already pre-cut this box so that we could get the video going for you today. But you'll get to see kind of what I did. So on the box, you have a flap. That's where you open up the box from. You're going to cut those flaps right off. And then once you cut the flaps off, you're going to get your marker and make little squares all over the top of your box. Once you have your squares drawn all over the top, you're going to get your scissors and cut out those notches. So those notches are cut out. Now, after that, you're going to draw 3 things. You need a door, and you need 2 windows. My door is a half oval, And my windows are half ovals, but you can choose the different shapes if you want to. Your door might be rectangular and your windows might be circles. Whatever you want to do is fine. Your windows you're going to cut out completely. So you need to have your parents help you, friends, okay? Have your parents help you cut out these hard to get spaces. The door, we're not going to cut all the way out because we want to keep our door. Castles have doors that can open up and shut in a really, really fast way if necessary. So I made a line here. I put my scissors right at the bottom and I started cutting on my black line all the way around, but I did not cut the bottom because what happens is you can eventually push that down and the door is still connected. So it looks like a tongue, but it's just the door of the castle. Now we're going to construct the towers on each side. And all this is a toilet paper roll that I have cut 2 slits about 1 inch long on each side. That slit will allow the tower to set on the sides and be pressed down onto the box. This means you don't have to glue anything. It sticks right there and you can shake it or do whatever and it's not going to come off. So the same with the second one. I just cut slits on either side and we're going to put it on the opposite side of the castle to create our second tower. You may see these pointy things sticking up and those are toothpicks. I just taped toothpicks to the insides of the towers, and what we're going to do is cut out a special shape, which is a triangle. This started out with a piece of paper that I folded. On the fold line you're going to make a triangle with the flat side being at the crease, and then you're going to cut on that line. So pick up your scissors and cut on the line. And what should happen when I open it up is my triangle is a diamond. This will allow you to fold the triangle in half, or the diamond in half, and then to glue it at the end to the tops of your toothpick, and that will create your flag. Because castles did have flags, and those flags represented the kingdom and the family. So once you have this basic structure made, I spray painted mine, but you're welcome to do whatever you want to with yours. You can cover it in paper, you can use markers, you can use paint on a brush instead of spray paint. And then once it's all dry and ready to go, then you can start adding details to your kingdom. I like the idea of gluing your castle down without the door, just the bottom of the castle, down to a piece of cardboard and then decorating that really nice. Make a moat around your kingdom, and then you can make little trees to go on each side of your kingdom and your castle, and that just makes it all tie in really well together. So we'll take this one away that's not completely finished yet, and we will put this one there like this, and we might even add our tower to the background or the foreground like this. Scoot it over so it all fits. We'll add our little roof here. And you can just start building and making this bigger and better, and there's really nowhere for you to stop. There's always so much that you can do. Thanks so much for coming today, guys. This is our first program for summer reading, and there's lots more to view for next week. A lot of fun too. Again, thanks so much for coming. Have a great day. Don't forget to register for summer reading. All you have to do is go to our website, AllenCainLibrary.com, click on our forms, and make sure to click on the youth registration tab for ages 12 and under. And until then, we'll see you soon. Goodbye.